Hello and welcome to The Long Dark survival game. My name is Michael Hansen, as you probably already know. And sorry for the interruption, it was this Windows that wanted to restart my computer. Obviously I don't want it to restart my computer. But as you can see, we are here where we left off the last time. Our main character, Mike, has eaten and been drinking, not drinking like alcohol, but keeping himself well plenished so that he can go and explore the rest of the world. Now, I initially decided for myself that I wouldn't do any more videos at all gaming before, or actually after I got my new microphone. Now, since for some reasons that doesn't seem to happen right away, I decided to try to make sort of a shorthand do-it-yourself version of my microphone. The problem is, as I told you, that the microphone I have at the moment, it's a little connector that is connecting it from the headset itself to the thingy, jingy, whatever you call it, that you put onto your head. It's broken, so that whenever I try to move the microphone around just a little bit, it pops out and it just falls off my ear. So what I did was I took two strips, two strips, and then I stripped it to strip-wired it to my ordinary headset. So this means that one of the problems I had with my headset I have now from the get-go was that I couldn't use it together with my ordinary headset, because there's a little ear muffin on the old connector. There still is, but that is supposed to sit on top of your ear, so that the microphone is, you can sort of swipe it down, so it's just outside your mouth. It's sitting on your ear, and then you can swipe it down. I could put little earplugs in, but I wanted to play with my ordinary headset. And also, so I needed to play all the time with my loudspeakers, using my not loudspeakers in that sense. It's more PC speakers actually. But nevertheless, I had to use the PC speakers. I couldn't use anything else. Also, yeah, that's it. So now I sort of smacked two flies in one swipe, as we say here in Denmark. I can now use the headset with my ordinary. I can use my microphone with my ordinary headset, and also, most importantly, I can use the headset again without having to worrying about it falling off or slamming into my ear, which I must admit hurts pretty badly. Alright, that being said, some new and exciting things has happened here in The Long Dark. Some people might say that it is they have to some extent destroyed the game in a bit, to some extent. As you can see here, as I showed you right now, the way you interact with things is pretty different. Now you can go to the cooking part and you can take it, or you can let's see if I can find it again. There it is. Use. You can put it back, but you have to go to this menu down here. You can cook, you can boil water, and you can melt water, not smelt. It's not iron. And you can start the fire. So the way they have changed the menu is pretty significantly. As you can see down in the left down corner, left bottom corner, the dials have been moved from the middle out to the side, and I actually find that pretty useful, because then you don't actually have your entire field of view hindered by the dials. You have to look down instead of straight out in order to see it, and you can also see your the way they have the dials works is technically the same, but it's more I would say more straightforward. So as you can see, as I'm consuming water and consuming food, those little dials, the round dials, that they get shorter and shorter, so it's sort of like 100%, 50%, and that sort of thing. Yes, so that's a pretty significant change. One other thing that they have changed, I'm going to show you right now, is that they have added another craftable item, and that is something I really like. Here, so one of the things that I still don't like about this game, but is as you could say the essence of the game, is that the crafting is still I think it's quite sophisticated now to make these things here, snares, hooks, lines, rabbitskin mitts, and so on, so on, so on. That's not really that's not in that sense what you say, sorry, I just lost the it's not sophisticated in that sense. You can also make the arrow shaft and you can make a simple arrow, but the thing is, and I have to wonder, if I were surviving like this in the wilderness, I would obviously try to craft good clothes if I knew how to do it, but I would try to do that at least. But and I would probably also try to make myself a survival bow using an arrow of some sort. Now, eventually, if I found a way to do it, I would try to make these metal arrowheads, because they have a much higher piercing effect, and thus it is way more likely to kill whatever you shoot at. But at first hand, I would just try to make a simple wooden arrow where I sharpen the wood in the front, and perhaps I would try to use a flint stone or something like that. But I definitely wouldn't just go for trying to make. I wouldn't call this a simple arrow. I would actually call it a pretty sophisticated arrow. It's like that kind of arrow you would use in the Middle Ages, right? With the metal head and the feathers down in the back. Now, crow feathers, that's okay. I could probably find some feathers out in the wilderness. I would probably be able to do that. Maybe I would be so lucky to kill a bird, and then I would have a lot of feathers. But that metal head, that wouldn't be my first choice. But nevertheless, that's the way that Hinterland has decided the game should work. The hook and the line, well, I could probably make that. Also the snare, that's okay. But I think that a survival game like this, that doesn't have that big of an emphasis on crafting, which the Long Dark most likely doesn't. I think it should at least give you the ability to make all the necessities to survive. You should be able to craft them. Now, because then you have that choice, then you don't have to go outside and in that sense look for clothes. You can make it yourself, which is most likely what I think most people would do in this situation if they didn't have any other choices. Now obviously there is a bit of a sense in going out and look for. You would have to look for food, and obviously you would also look for clothes. That's obvious, of course. But the idea that you can craft your necessities, the necessary clothing that you need, I think that's a necessary thing for a game like this. And so that is why I'm very happy that they have added this extremely ugly, but nevertheless pretty good. It's not that good compared to its weight. It's pretty weighty. It's pretty heavy. And if you compare it to something else, for example the balaclava, or for instance the wool toque that you have here, if you compare the warmth to the weight ratio, this is much better. You can see this is 0.25 kilograms, and if you look at the fleece cowl here, it's also pretty good, but it's also 0.25. The best, I think, and I'm not sure I have it anymore, or if I destroyed it, is actually the fleece, no, the wool scarf. I might have it somewhere. Let's go take a look. Yeah, but nevertheless, I'm very happy that they have added. So I think I put clothes in here. Oh, maybe I didn't. Let's see if there's something in here. It might be that yeah, we have one windbreaker. No, I don't have it anymore. I think I destroyed it. I'm not sure why I didn't destroy these tubes here. And the t-shirt, I should probably also destroy them at some point. But I read on the wiki that the warmth to weight ratio is actually best for the scarf. Now, you could say that. Let's see if I put it down here. No. No. Probably don't have it anymore. Maybe it's back at the Trappist's cabin. I'm not sure I've moved everything at that moment. So let's make a Rabbitskin hat. You need 3 cured rabbit pelts and 1 cured god, and I am fairly certain that I have all of those things. Now, where I put them, that's a completely different story. I seem to recall that I put it up here, but let's see. Yeah, they're here. So we take 1, 2, 3, plop, and then go down, of course, to the cabin here, where I obviously store my my cured gods. So let's take 1, 2, 3. No, sorry, not 3. Let's put that. Yeah. So that's what we need. So let's get started on that. Let's see how much time do we have. Plenty. Alright, so I'm going to let's see how much my... it's okay. I'm going to fast forward to the video, but just so you can see the result. I think I'm going to do 2 hours at the time. Yeah, let's do that. Begin. Alright, we are back. Let's just drink a little bit. And I think I have some cooked meat up here in the one of the cabins up here. Let's see. A cupboard, not cabin. I have a fish. Let's eat that. Yeah, I have some fresh venison. Fresh cooked venison. Let's eat the fish. And some of the venison. Alright. Take a bit to drink again. Alright, so maybe I should take some... I think I have some water in here. Yeah. Let's take 2 liters. 2 liters. Transfer. And let's take couple of sodas. There you go. We also have the coffee and the tea. Oh yes. And some rusty condensed milk. Alright, so that's one thing. The other thing is that Hinterland have now chosen to add a buff, which is called Hinterland have chosen to add a buff which they call well fed. So there was obviously some misstructures in the game that you could starve yourself for most of the day, and then you could eat a little bit and then sleep, and then you could recover all that you lost. So that's sort of a minimal calorie intake. And obviously I would say if you're in the wilderness and food is scarce, that's rationing is a vital strategy in order to survive, no doubt about that. And also so the good thing about the buff that they have added right now is that it's an additive, it's a positive buff, it's not a negative one, meaning that you can choose not to take advantage of the buff without losing anything. So if you don't use the buff, if you don't keep yourself well fed, then you will not lose anything. But if you keep yourself well fed, like I'm doing, I'm eating and drinking in order not to get starving, you would gain the ability to carry 5 kilograms worth of extra material, extra things. So there's one other thing that Hinterland have changed, which let's take a look at it. Oh, it's pretty. Oh yeah, let's just change the clothing from not sure why I'm taking that off. Let's take this, put this on instead. So see the fleece cowl, 1.5, 1, 2 for weather, and so 2 for water, and 2% protection. It doesn't subtract, it adds. The only thing is that it weighs a little bit more, and you look insanely stupid with it on when you have this woollier wrap on as well. Alright. So the other thing that Hinterland has changed is the way that you present yourself on the map. So let me just give you an example of that. I know this is the case for the story mode. I am not sure it is also the case when you are doing like I'm doing survival mode. Does this get? Yeah. Let's take a look. Yes. I think... No. No. Alright, so in the survival game, you don't get an arrow of where you are, but in the main game you do. I was hoping actually that we would get this also in the survival part, but they've chosen not to add that. But I think in this episode, when I've gone through... No, you can't just see yourself. I think for this episode I am going to go down to make one last trip to the trapper's cabin and see if I can find see if there's anything else down there that I need to pick up, because obviously I have yeah, alright, so I haven't actually told you that yet, but I have chosen to move myself from the trapper's cabin down in the bottom to the bigger house at Mystery Lake. And it's not that I actually need the space, and I must admit I also do find the trapper's cabin way more cozy actually, but also I think the idea for me is that the trapper's cabin is down in the corner of the map, whereas the Mystery Lake cabin, or what I call the camp office, is sort of roughly in the center of the map, which means that it's more centrally located, which means that when I'm going to go explore, which this really is about, I can get that. I can get. It's much easier for me to move around. Going into the wind, so not going that fast, and hopefully I'm not going to encounter any wolfies. Obviously I do have the rifle, but hey. I was just wondering if he sort of sped up every time he let go of the rifle, sort of put it down like this, but obviously he do. Now there's one thing I would like to test when we get back to Trapper's cabin. So as some of you who follows my channel may have heard, is that I was for a couple of years ago, it's roughly 10 years or something like that, I was in the Danish army. So I obviously have handled rifles. For those of you that are interested, I have handled an old, so tempting. No, I have handled an old, older Heckler & Koch MP5 like rifle, big, heavy, with a lot of recoil, and to be honest, not that particularly nice to shoot with. Let's see if I can hit the deer with the stone, but nevertheless, yeah, so not that nice to shoot with. No, not even close. Yeah, it's a nice rifle, no doubt about that. But I just don't find it that nice to shoot with because the recoil, it's real. If you don't handle it properly, if you don't keep it well tucked to your shoulder and use that soft spot around your on your shoulder to sort of cushion the recoil, you would most likely get a sore eye or a sore chin because of it. But it's a 7.62 millimeter, so I don't know what that is in caliber. Cartridge that it uses, I think it's, as far as I know, it's the same kind of cartridge that they use in this rifle here. Yeah, and obviously that adds to the recoil. But later on we got a Canadian copy rifle of the American M16, which has reduced recoil. It handles more probably, and to be honest, with that rifle you could shoot it with one hand and still hit something. Now you would obviously not hit as well if you as when you keep it tightly locked to your shoulder and hold it in the proper fashion. But you could hit something just by keeping it like this. That's one thing. Yeah, so what I wanted to say with this is that I have had my fair share of handling weapons, rifles, and so one of the things that I wanted to test, which has confused me a little bit, I'm going to show you. I'm going to go into that cabin over here, because then we don't have the wind straight in our faces. Now, this might be that I'm wrong and they have actually added this, but I haven't noticed it. Let's see, are we... For some reason we're still getting the wind. Oh, now we don't. So, if you hold a rifle like this, standing up, which you obviously should be able to, there goes a little bit of time and then your aim is screwed up, like Mike's aim is right now. But if you go down, crouch, and then you aim, you should be able to hold the aim much longer. And as you can see, for some reason, Will is not able to do that. And that's something that annoys me a little bit, because what I know is that if you crouch down, and obviously if you crouch down the right way, you can actually get a pretty good significant amount of help to get your aim straight. That sounded definitely like a wolf. But we're so close, I don't care. No doubt about that was a wolfie. I'm not sure where he is. Well, let's go in. Alright, so let's take a look what we have. We have the jerry can. I haven't moved those. We have a hatchet. We have a lot of hatchets. We have a flashlight. Let's see what we have in the locker. No scarf in here. So I've moved most of those things. I have left some of the... Also the cooking pot I've left there. Some of the recycling cans. There's a storm lantern here. I think we should... I think the idea is that I'm going to take the tin of coffee. I'm definitely not going to keep that here. Arrow shaft. We really don't need that. The safe is empty. I don't think I have left anything here. Yeah, I banked up dog food. I'm not going to take the dog food.
I'm not sure I can carry much more.
Oh, shut up. Of course you can. What else do we have in here? Now, I'm going to need to take out this lamp here, and that's probably not because it is considerably dark in here, but more the fact that I have oh, I left two simple tools here. Yeah, I don't need those, but a lot of recycled cans. Let's see if I took what, that cattail head. It's a lot of tinder, some wood. Let's take it. How much are we carrying? 32 kilograms. I think that should be. And we took that. I was just checking to see if we took the... Let's take some of the tinder plugs also. To see if I'd taken all that. Some more tinder plugs here. Nothing of and wood matches. Let's take those. No, let's leave one set of wood matches. No, let's just leave the cardboard matches here. Drop them. No, sorry, drop. Yes, drop all. And put them up. No, you can't. No. So let's put them there. Alright, we have the bed, so I don't think that we need anything else, but yeah, the time for this episode is up. In the next episode we are obviously going to make our way back to the camp office. I'm sorry, I can never remember that name. And then we are going to explore a little bit. As you can see, I have explored some of the map, but it's sort of been on and off all the way around. But we're going to explore some more, because that's the name of the game here. And obviously we're going to try to figure out where that bear is, because I really would like to make either a bearskin coat or a bearskin bedroll. Now the bearskin bedroll, you need 2 cured black bear hide. You also need that for the bearskin coat. You need some cloth, and you need a 6 cured guts. Now you will get a lot of things from the bear. Only one, so we need 2 bears. Now, as you probably remember, my utter and complete failure at making a bear, killing the bear in Milton Town. So what I'm going to do now is to put my life on the line for the sake, and try to shoot the bear really up close. If I can get somewhere to hide myself, I will do it. But nevertheless, I'm going to take my leave of you here. I will probably do some inventory sorting off camera, and then I will meet you again in the next episode. So see you around. Until then, bye bye.